Hello everybody, your friendly neighborhood Canvas admin Jake here, and today we're here to talk about grades inside of Canvas. More specifically, the grades menu inside of Canvas and why you might want to use it in case you haven't been using it, and all that kind of stuff. So, you probably don't have this shown for your students right now, and there's probably a few reasons why. The biggest one is you've probably heard that if you have the grades menu shown, that the grades that students see are probably different than what they would see inside of PowerSchool. And this is particularly true if you have grading passback turned on, right? So if you're sending grades from Canvas back to PowerSchool and students look at their grades in Canvas, they may not match what they see in PowerSchool. And of course, we all know that PowerSchool is the definitive source for grades inside of Polk County, so we want to make sure that they match. It is true that they might not match, and that's because of the way that PowerSchool calculates final grades, right? So, if you are an elementary or middle school teacher, in Polk County schools at least, we have the weights for those grading categories inside of PowerSchool defined. They are set to be weighted a certain way. Inside of Canvas, they are not set a certain way. They are just all treated as equal. If you are a high school teacher, you are lucky enough to be able to set your own weights inside of PowerSchool, but still, they may not match what is inside of Canvas. It is possible to make them match, and we're going to talk about that today. Let's talk about some reasons why you might consider making the grades menu visible inside of Canvas. First of all, you want your children to be able to see their grades and, more importantly, their feedback on the assignments that you leave for them easily. You can do that with the grades menu. Also, Canvas provides a nifty little feature inside of the grades menu called What If Grading, which allows students to experiment with what they would have gotten or how their grade is affected if they were to receive a different grade on their assignments. So we can do that inside the grades menu. So all of those are reasons, in my opinion, that you should consider making the grades menu visible inside of Canvas. The best way to make this clearer is for me to jump into Canvas and show it to you. So let's jump into Canvas. Here we are inside of my demo course. Pay no attention to the waving man on the front page. He's just there to be friendly every time I need to access the course. But first thing we need to do is make sure that our students can see the grades menu. So actually, I'm in this course as a student right now, and if I put this on screen so you can see it, here's a student point of view of this admin demo course, and this might mimic many of your courses out there. They can see the home button, they can see the assignments tab. That is it. Can't see anything else. So we might consider making some other things visible. So let me jump back to teacher view, which is right here. So the first thing we need to do is make sure that grades menu is visible. And in case you don't remember how to do that, I'm going to show you right now. So I am in my course. I'm going to go to course settings right here in the course menu. I'm going to choose navigation from the tabs at the top. I already have navigation showing because I was there a few minutes ago. But if you're not, click right there for navigation. I'm going to find grades. I'm going to drag it up to the top. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom and click on Save. And I should see that the little eyeball is now gone next to the grades menu. And if I look once again at my student point of view, and I refresh this student point of view, and we'll see that the grades menu is now visible. All right, great. First step, check, done, returning home. All right, so, why did I do that? I'm going to bring it back over here. We still want the student view. Of course we do. You'll notice right next to grades, I now have these two little alerts right next to grades. I've got this little red, it's kind of like your unread text messages notification or you have 5,000 unread emails badge, right? It's right there. There's two notifications for the student. Students get that when they have grades or feedback left by their teacher. And this is one of the biggest reasons why I think you should have grades visible. If this menu is not visible, the only way students will be alerted about feedback that you leave for them is with the little recent feedback menu over here on the right-hand side. And you can see that I have some feedback there. Here's the reason that menu sucks, okay? It's like a Twitter feed. So every time a new notification gets posted, something else goes right there to that feed, which is good. But if they're not checking it regularly, they could miss it. It could scroll down and be off screen and they don't even see that you left it there. And without that grades menu visible, there's not an easy way to jump back to it. But here, they see, I have two pieces of notifications I need to go and check on, right? So let's jump into, as the student, remember I'm the student right now, I'm going to jump into the grades menu, and I can see all of my assignments. I can filter if I want to by due date or title or whatever, right? But I can see all of the assignments that are turned in. If I had due dates, I don't because this is a demo course, but if I had due dates, it would show here with the status. I can see the scores on my assignments that my teacher has given me, and I can see the notifications right over here on the right-hand side that show if I have feedback. Notice I've got the little blue dot saying homework 3 has some feedback. If I click on it, it shows me the feedback right there. Bingo. It says, great job. Thank you, teacher. And then I can do the same thing here. I got a 65 out of 100 for this test. And my teacher said we can do better. That's a terrible piece of feedback, but this is just demo purposes. So you'll leave much better feedback than I did for this, I'm sure. So, but look how nice and neat this is. Now, what's nice about this, amongst other things, is I mentioned that students can experiment with different grades, right? Canvas calls this what if grades. There's a little paragraph over here that explains it to the students. Basically, it boils down to this. Let's see, my total grade right now, I've got a running total of 62%. And you can see it breaks it down by assignment groups, which I have mimicking my PowerSchool categories here. Right now, my homework category is, it could use some help. I'm only got a 33%. But what if I decided, I didn't turn in this thing of homework, but what if I did? If I type in a score, let's pretend that I turned it in and I got a 10, right? I can look and see at the bottom, it's recalculated my score for that category and my overall score. Simply turning in that piece of homework would raise my GPA by 3 whole percentage points, right? Of course, this is just experimentation, right? I can reset it with a little arrow right here. So all the students have access to this. Or this summative test. Tests are a big deal. I want to say, okay, my teacher's going to let me retake this. If I can score at least a 90 on this test, what does that do to my GPA? Oh, that raised it almost 7 percentage points, right? Just by doing better on that test. So it allows me to experiment a little bit there, which is good. So experimentation is great, but it doesn't do us any good if the numbers that students are seeing on this page are different than families are going to see in PowerSchool, right? We're opening ourselves up to criticism if students and families look in Canvas and see one grade and then look in PowerTeacher and see another, right? And again, that boils down to the way that PowerTeacher weights their categories. Inside Hoke County, that's defined for most of our teachers. Some of us are fortunate enough to be able to put whatever categories and weights we want. But either way, doesn't matter. What matters is that you can set up the weighting inside of Canvas to mimic the way that it is calculated inside of PowerSchool. So let's talk about how to do that. So I'm going to jump back to my teacher view. Here I am back as a teacher inside the very same course, and I'm going to go to my assignments tab. I'm not going to my gradebook. I'm going to assignments. So I click on assignments. Here we go. And of course, I, as the teacher, I've already set up grading passback for this course. I've imported my PowerTeacher categories, which is why I have them here, right? So I have classwork, homework, project, lab, quiz, and test. These are the categories that are predefined, at least in our school district. What is missing, if you have set up categories with passback, is I don't have the little icons next to these categories, and that's because this is a demo course that isn't really connected to PowerTeacher Pro. I'm just pretending that it is. So imagine that those icons are there. They're not, but pretend they are. In your courses, they will be. And if I expand these categories, or assignment groups as Canvas calls them, I can see all of the assignments inside the correct assignment groups. Now, I also don't have my syncing buttons turned on over here on the right because this course, again, doesn't really sync to PowerSchool, and I don't want to get a whole bunch of error messages. But just use your imagination, a little theater of the mind, and pretend that those are turned on, okay? All right. So these are all set up inside the proper categories, but they are not weighted yet. I would like to set up these categories to be the same weights as the way PowerTeacher views them, right? And I'm going to do that with the 3 dots in the upper right-hand corner of my assignments page. There are 3 dots to the right of each category. Those are not the ones I want. I want the ones up in the very upper right-hand corner. These 3 dots right here. I click on it. One of the menu options is Assignment Groups Weight. That's what we want. Remember, Canvas calls them assignment groups. PowerTeacher calls them categories. They're the same thing. I wish they had the actual same name, but they're not. So I'm going to click on Assignment Groups Weight, and I have a little checkbox. This is weight final grade based on assignment groups. Yes, that's what we want. Boom. All right. So once I click that checkbox, Now I have each of my categories from PowerSchool or assignment groups here in Canvas and a percentage value next to it. And all I have to do is make them match. Now, I might not remember exactly what they're supposed to be here in Hoke. I'm just going to put some values in here, but remember, you want to make these values match the values inside PowerTeacher Gradebook. So in your district, if classwork is worth 10%, you're going to put in 10%. I'm going to put in 20%, because I think that's what it is. I think homework is 10%. I think project lab is 20%. I think quizzes are 20%, and I think tests are 30%. I'm going to use percent a lot. I'm not 100% on that, but these are pretty close if they're not exactly right. Once again, you want to make sure these match what you have in PowerSchool. And now I'm going to click Save. When I click Save, now my assignments page has a little oval, or a little rounded rectangle, if you will, in each category that tells exactly how much of the final grade these categories are weighted for. So now if I jump back to my student view, I'm going to jump back to my student again, pull up Daryl's stuff. I'm just going to refresh this grades page. What we'll see is over on the right-hand side that now the assignment weights have all been updated. And as I experiment with grades now, so if I want to see what happens if I update, if I were to turn in this homework assignment and turn in this homework assignment, and maybe do a little bit better on this group here. Maybe do a little better on my quiz and my test. It's calculating the grades you can see down here for each category, and then the updated total reflects the weights that my teacher has laid out for me. So that's how I set up the weights for my assignment categories inside of Canvas to more closely mimic what students and families see inside PowerTeacher Pro. But I do want to bring up and mention, I always want to say, PowerTeacher Pro, at least here in our county, is still the definitive source for grades, right? So you need to make sure that your grades are correct inside PowerTeacher Pro. That's where they matter. So what that means is, especially at the end of the grading period, if you have adjustments that you need to make to any of these assignments, you need to make sure that they are correct inside PowerTeacher Pro. All right? Also, I want to mention, if you are fortunate enough to be able to add whatever categories you want, so you're a high school teacher maybe here or somewhere else, you can add whatever categories and weight them however you choose to inside of your course. You need to do that inside PowerTeacher first and then import your categories into Canvas. Remember, Passback only works if you have imported the categories from PowerTeacher Pro. So create your categories and your weights in PowerTeacher Pro first. Import your categories as assignment groups into Canvas, and then mimic the weights inside of Canvas. You have to do those steps in that order in order for that Passback to still work and weighting to be correct. And the final thing I want to mention before I let you out of here and you can stop listening to me drone on is you need to do this for each of your courses, right? So if you teach 3 courses, you've got 3 separate course shells. You can't do it in one and have it carry over into the others. This is a course-by-course basis. You have to do it each course that you want it applied to. Best rule of thumb, as far as I'm concerned, is right at the beginning of the semester or the beginning of the quarter or the grading period when you're setting up your course shell, getting ready to publish it for kids, set up your weighting at the same time. It's done and out of the way. You don't have to worry about it anymore. All right, so that's today's conversation, all about that grades tab and setting your assignment weights inside of Canvas. Let me know if I can help you with anything more specifically. Otherwise, we'll see you next time.